Have you ever dreamed about a game where the devil himself plays the main role and his servants are Bloody Mary, the Headless Horseman, Lilith and Count Dracula? Then good, welcome to Rogue Lords, one of the most stylish, original, complex and controversial clones of Slay the Spire. However, the word clone is not quite appropriate here, it's more to attract your attention. After all, formally, Rogue Lords is not even a KKI, but the skills used by our characters operate according to the principle of cards. We can receive them as a reward for victories in battles, buy them, exchange them, improve them at the dealers and delete them, choosing other ones instead. Thus, each character actually has his own deck of skills. Only small, a maximum of 6-7 units. But flexible, you can edit it by getting, buying, removing and improving it often. The principle of the game is reminiscent of Spire. We see the map and plan our movement through it, deciding which of the track to take. Somewhere traders are waiting for us, somewhere the occasion event, somewhere turn-based battles with ordinary or elite bosses, which are rewarded with relics, common to the entire party or valid for a particular character. Besides the schematic map, there is a quite real three-dimensional one on which you have to move your character, like in some RPG. At the first it's interesting, but then it tires you out and takes your time. However, the main ideological difference of Rogue Lords is the theme. Here we play, as I said, as the devil and his followers. Something similar was already in Monster Train, but in the project of Nikon and Cianade Studio is much more coherent storyline and, as strange as it may sound for Dracula, more lively characters. The entire walkthrough is broken into act books, in the course of which the devil adepts search for artifacts that can restore their master's power. You also need to take revenge on Van Helsing, who in fact deprived Lucifer of their very power by driving him back into hell. The quest for each artifact is a separate adventure with its own intrigues, in the course of which you must, for example, expose and make vulnerable the character, who is in fact only a limitation of a person. Plus, we are constantly faced with interesting random events. You can make a young demon hunter mad or scared to death and then set him on his own, or turn a woman who wants to attack our fighters to save her family into a humiliac maniac. We will direct her aggression at the villagers. In another situation, the devil is indignant that the executioner is one of the villagers is executing the condemned too quickly. Yes, it sounds harsh, but in fact there is a lot of irony, parody and black humor. This is not a cold and harsh death order in the vein of Eratus, Lord of the Dead, but rather a poppy and funny parody in the vein of the Addams Family. The stylistic of Rogue Lords are approaching. A lot of people are not saints either. For example, our main opponents from the Divine Light sect happen to be experimented on people, hanging innocent and so on. You can make sure everyone knows about it. This will be undermine their credibility, and if you free the same witch or kill a priestess in front of everyone, the level of terror will rise. The higher it is, the more character to get especially powerful relics. Positive outcome of events also gives bonuses in some location. There will be discounts from the Grim Merchant with a skiff and a black robe. We will get a bonus to the accumulation of souls. Will increase the chances of successfully passing the event. Conversely, it all ended in failure. Then, in some of the following regions, we will receive penalties and souls will be taken away, and the health and mana of elite enemies will increase by 20%. The likelihood of success in such events depends on which of the adepts we assign to participate in them. Everyone has parameters such as stealth, wily, occultism, intimidation, and templation, in addition to their background, habits, health, mana, damage levels. The game tells us which of these will be needed in his event. We see who has what better developed and assign the appropriate candidate. True, it's not the fact that the options available to him to attempt summon, intimidate or sneak past the guards will automatically lead to the desired result. Everything as large RPGs, depending on the level of the parameter, and the changes are determined by the percentage. If successful, not only the adept himself will get bonuses to his characteristic, but also, if he is lucky, his colleagues. They will be inspired by these actions, and the opposite reaction will follow if unsuccessful. Initially, we have Dracula, the Headless Horseman, and Bloody Mary available to us. And they are all unique in their own way and use different tactics in battles. Bloody Mary can only deal damage to those who this at least health due to her blood host, and her main skill improves a mirror on the enemy. As a result, all the damage and negative against other enemies will automatically come to him. Dracula understandably heals himself by biting his opponents. Then they are joined by the White Lady, Lilith and Azam, also unique and often already on Death comrades. Each race traditionally works for meta progression. Even if we fail, we gain experience, reach new levels, which unlocks new adepts, skills and relics, which will be covered in the next passes. If we talk about gameplay tricks and innovation of Rogue Lords, it's primarily a unique opportunity to dramatically change the situation with the help of the Spirit of the Devil. This is our main resource that determines the level of health. Reducing it to 0 in battle sends us to the Devil's Lair to recover wounds and prepare for a new sortie. The same resource is used for unique tricks. By using it, we can steal the enemy's positive status right in the battle and drag it over to our character, while the opponent on the contrary can receive our negative status. They also allow us to scroll the health or mana bar to our opponent to 0. Similarly, we are allowed to heal our charges. And in even and trials, with the help of the Spirit of the Devils, we are free to increase the chances of their successful resolution. True, this reduces all supply, which, as you understand, is fraud. That's why it's important to find and visit the Styr Foundation on the map, which restores some of the Devil's Spirit. And in general, Rogue Lords has a lot of interesting mechanics and tricks. For example, in battles this was enough just to reduce the enemy's health level to 0, so he will only enter the state on the verge of death, but will get a chance to be reanimated. So you need to finish him off in time, dealing any amount of damage. Some relics and skills play around with these mechanics and allow, for example, Dracula on the verge of death to automatically get dodged the next turn. It is not necessary to hit the opponent's health. The mana bar has exactly the same value for the character's life. Some of our adepts specialize in dealing damage to enemies' magical abilities. In addition, even a single use of any skill depletes it. You have to use special skills to recharge them, and we are free to drain our enemy's skills. All this turns battles into a challenging but interesting tactical event. You can rarely do something on automatic, you always have to think and calculate. So why it is, as I said at the beginning, a controversial roguelike? First of all, a lot of people complain about first randomness. I also encountered this when one of the playthroughs I accumulated as much as 70 units of Devilish Spirit, and in the other the same distance of the race, the maximum was only 40. Or when, even with a 90% chance of success in event, there were 2 failures at the most inopportune moment. Some relics and skills seems to be less in demand than others, and it is all the more frustrating when they fall out. Hence the accusation of excreted difficulty of the game. But by playing more carefully and carefully planning my action, I found a working build and passes the problem's errors. That is, yes, there is always room for randomness, and it's hard to make everything equally useful. But at the same time, we are given a lot of opportunities to control the situation. You need to integrally plan your movements on the map, paying attention to what kind of bonuses and penalties we get when we visit a particular location, and whatever to participate in an optional event. We need to understand which of the adepts to pump more often involved in the events, what skills and food to improve the late buy, what relics to choose. Another tool to control is choosing how to fight by ambulishing, attacking in the open, or disarming patrol. This affects the number of opponents, as well as what rewards we get, new souls, skills, or the ability to increase the level of terror in the neighborhood. The main, perhaps not even the trouble, but the particular of regulars is that once you have completed the game, you hardly want to do it again. It's too painful. Stuffy passing and too long fights with some overpumped bosses. The game does not rely on the dynamics and variety of tactics in each race, but on desire to pass and defeat picking the only working strategy. Although the emergence of new adepts certainly bring variety to the races. So to sum up, Regulars is an interesting, original and intense roguelike, which is worth trying to pass at least once. Yes, it is indeed controversial, ambitious, and there are questions about the balance and difficulty level. The game can be toothless, but it cannot be called unpassing or fairly unfair. Although what justice can there be in roguelike, where not only people but also the game mechanics are trying to cheat Count Dracula and the devil himself?